Film Stash's Montaloo.
Hi, welcome to Film Stash. Okay, my name is Douglas Campbell.
And my name is Stephanie Hitt. And today, we're reviewing P.S. I Love You.
Okay. Based on Cecilia Ahern's 2004 novel, Jerry, played by Gerard Butler, husband of Holly Kennedy, played by Hilary Swank, dies from an illness, and she loses the love of her life. Jerry, planning ahead of his death, sends her a series of letters starting on her 30th birthday to help ease her grief and hopefully move on. So this one we actually got as a recommendation from her sister Shelby, and I've always seen the poster around, like I've never really dared to look into it. I mean, it looked way too overdramatic just based off of the poster.
I've seen it like 500 times. It was one of my comfort movies at one point where I would just turn it on if I was like in the room. So it's always been a part of my life and I love it. It was different this time because I haven't actually sat down and watched it in years. Usually I just pay attention to like the scenery and like him singing and things like that. So actually watching the full movie through, it was tough. It was so good though.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. No, I actually really liked it though. There was quite a bit of different things I liked about it, but we'll go like further into that when we get into like our further analysis of the movie. Ooh, Steph, so you'll like this. During the filming of Gerard Butler's strip sequence, I guess his suspenders, they hit Hilary Swank like right on the forehead. And it like cut her, like she had to go to the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which if you look at the movie, it's like it's 2 seconds. It's like it's barely anything, but I think that's like really funny.
Especially since like part of the joke when he has the suspenders is that they hit him in the face.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
The fact that it backfired so bad that it hit his co-star.
It's like, geez, this film takes place in Ireland. We'll get into that later.
Well, it's a mix of Ireland and New York, right?
Yeah, it's both locations. So I guess Gerard Butler apologized to Irish fans for his attempt at an Irish accent. It was awful. It was god awful. I think we can agree with that.
I thought that when I was younger and I would watch it, I was like, oh, this is an Irish accent.
Yeah.
You know? And then one time I heard like an actual Irish accent and I'm like, that doesn't sound like Gerard Butler. And then when we watched this movie, I was like, oh, he's definitely Scottish doing an Irish accent. And
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
This film, based on a novel, there were quite a bit of differences from the adaptation, but the one thing that remained the same between both mediums are the letters.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yep, the letters stayed exactly the same.
I like that. I really like the letter idea too. Don't do that when you die.
So before we dive into anything here, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Smash that like button!
Now let's just dive into the stash, all right? So diving into the positives here, I think the premise of this movie, it is incredibly romantic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it is very unique. I wasn't even expecting it, honestly. Every promotional material I've seen for this thing, it's like Gerard Butler and Hilary Swank doing things throughout Scotland. Don't look at trailers, so I just figured like, oh yeah, it's a nice romantic movie with the two. 10 minutes later, he fucking dies.
I have a quote because when we were watching it, then they pop up at his funeral. Doug's face was hysterical. I wish I got a picture of it, but I even wrote down a quote. He fucking died? What the hell?
Well, yeah, because it's like, you know, I see all these posters and it's like, what's the movie about? I thought it was like they were, you know, he was from Scotland and she was in America and it was like letters back and forth and the tagline was, P.S. I love you.
Okay, that would be really cute too, though.
We're trademarking it here. It's like, oh, so where's this movie gonna go now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I like about it compared to other romantic comedies is it's not a romantic comedy where like a guy and girl meet, they get into a fight, and then they eventually end up together and it kind of gets boring. This one, it's a romantic comedy about Hilary Swank overcoming grief and kind of learning to love herself and to move on with her life through these letters. And I think that's really interesting.
I took notes throughout the movie. I know we established that the accent was horrible, but even just like his voice like the sound of his voice.
It is very soothing.
It's such a nice voice. Like, does he sing or anything like that?
In Phantom of the Opera.
No, he doesn't. He shouts in Phantom of the Opera. The music is so good.
Yeah.
Throughout, because like they have multiple times, you know, where Gerard will be playing the guitar and singing, or like she goes to like a bar. I really enjoy the music. I really jam to it. Like, I'm thinking about looking into the soundtrack, like buying like the soundtrack or finding it on Spotify or something.
I certainly like the locations that we got in Ireland.
Oh my gosh.
Like the countryside.
I would just pay attention during the parts that they're in Ireland because it's gorgeous. That's why I want to go to Ireland on our honeymoon. And he said Ireland. So
I never said that.
All the hills and the fields and all the green. All the green.
Their earliest flashback where they first meet. They're like, she's walking home and he's walking in the same direction. Like, if you want like a tourist photo of like Ireland, like that whole scene, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it right
honestly.
there. It is like gorgeous locations.
Speaking of like pictures and such, I really enjoyed how during the intro of the film, like when they're playing like the opening song and opening credits, it's showing different snapshots of them throughout their relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really nice. And then later you do see them there on the coffee table under the glass, like as the coffee table surface.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was really nice that they did something like that because it even just looked natural, you know? I think that they made a very good pair. I think that they had chemistry and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that they looked like a good couple. So.
I will say, to kind of comment on that though, I do like that type of visual storytelling. You know, you show, don't tell, because obviously, you know, Gerard Butler's dead, so there's only so much of the relationship you could show. I guess one of the visual things I think is kind of cool too, you said like the photos were underneath the coffee table, right?
Yes.
It's like trapped under glass.
Yes.
I think that that's like a good metaphor for Hilary Swank's character, you know? She's trapped in that relationship. She can't move on.
That's, oh my god, guys.
Yeah.
That's actually really good. Did you just come up with that?
I did come up with that. Yeah,
wow,
like,
that's
I noticed
a good
that.
one.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, for real. Like, I noticed that in the film, and I noticed that again when you were talking about it, and I'm glad we were kind of on the same page with that, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I do like how good the film is at making you feel emotions. Like I said earlier, I've watched it 50 times. Sitting down and watching it, especially with the love of my life here, I bawled like a baby. I don't really get too emotional with a lot of movies, like especially if they're meant to capture emotion, you know? Mm-hmm. But I think that they just did a very good job at making you feel emotions and feel what the characters are feeling and, you know, understand what they're going through.
I guess, like, to kind of comment on that, what we were talking about here with Holly and Jerry's relationship, like, I didn't see her having much of a character, kind of, other than just grieving Jerry, but I guess, like, that's kind of the point of the movie, is that she's trying to find herself again.
Yeah.
So that identity was kind of lost, and she is sort of finding it again. Having these memories told out of order, which again is another cool story sequence that I like seeing out of order. And I think I'm putting that in the positive, actually. Like, I think that's really cool. Oh, Steph, you heard that, right?
No, did you hear it, Maurice?
I'm going to put that in post. That means it's intermission time.
It's
intermission! Yay! Yay! So today, there are these Japanese Oreos. It looks like peach. Only does it come in a commemorative container, but a commemorative package. All right, let's open it up.
You can smell the peach right out the gate.
Oh yeah, that's very, very fruity. I'm a little concerned about it being extremely artificial scented. Clink it, and very peachy. It tastes like what it smells like.
The cookie is different than typical Oreos.
Like, the chocolate is not as strong tasting.
The cookie's like a little bit
Thinner?
crumblier.
Yeah, not as much cream in the middle. I would give this about a 5 out of 10. This is a 5 out of 10. It's in the middle. It's fine.
A 4. I'm not gonna have another one.
Yeah. All right, so I guess now we're going into the mixed of everything here.
Mixed.
All right, so what are some things that you had mixed?
Hilary Swank is a great actress, and her character in this film is great. But Her mouth bugs me.
Well, that's kind of mean, don't you think? I
Okay,
mean,
then don't put it in the review.
that's your only mix? That's your only mix? That's so mean.
Oh,
Come on.
Here,
Come on.
okay,
You
I
to
have
go-
a
come on.
mix. So I mean, great movie. They gave us plenty of time with them. I just wish that we had a little bit more to establish who they were at the time of the death and everything.
Mhm.
Because we saw them a lot in flashbacks, but that was more when they were like young and carefree kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I guess kind of adding on to that though, I do like the relationship and what it's presented. I actually don't mind the fact that it's very non-linear and that we kind of are entering it as an audience, trying to fill in the blanks where we can. How much do you show without it seeming way more sappy than what a romantic comedy typically is? You know what I mean?
you keep calling it a comedy.
Well, it is a romantic comedy. I mean, but that's kind of going into my mixed point here, which is it is a romantic comedy drama at its core. It is overcoming grief and death, right? I think the drama of it was played pretty well. I liked Hilary Swank's arc throughout the whole thing. You had this dramatic arc going on of her trying to overcome grief and whatnot, but then you have the typical romantic comedy sidekicks and the mom. I like those supporting actresses. I like Lisa Kudrow. I like Kathy Bates. I haven't seen Gina Gershon in much, but she seems okay.
Who's that?
That's the other friend.
Oh, okay.
Or at least I think that's Gina Gershon, I think. But I feel like this story just didn't really warrant comedic friend sidekicks like a lot of romantic comedies do, or at the very least, they were written to be in a normal, romantic comedy movie where this is a whole drama,
I mean, also, it was just showing
Which-
her support system.
True, and I guess that's fair, but to me it felt like it slightly clashed with what the story was about. Just because it felt like they were from an entirely different movie. I get a support system, I just felt they were kind of written differently, That's kind of how I felt with most of the supporting cast, honestly. If I had to pick 3 characters that you focus the movie on, I mean, I guess maybe even include a 4th. Hilary Swank, it would be Gerard Butler. You include Kathy Bates in there. And then, of course, you include, what's his name for The Walking Dead? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. The other Irish guy. You include him in there too,
Yeah.
Most of the other supporting cast. That's kind of what I mean. It felt like they were from a different movie altogether.
What? Not Harry Connick Jr.?
No, but that's where I guess we could go into our negatives here.
Here we go to the negatives. I love Harry. I love the other acting I've seen him do. I'm a big Will and Grace fan, so, he's on half the show.
He was very annoying in this movie.
Yeah.
And it did seem like they were trying to set them up. And the whole time I was thinking, this is a terrible couple. The only thing I will give it slightly a pass for, actually 2 things. One, I was doing some research. I found out his character was supposed to have Asperger's.
He did say that he has a condition and that he's medicated for it.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I thought he was just being a smartass about it. I guess I didn't read too into it.
It's kind of
I thought he was just being a smartass and he was just kind of a dick.
He's kind of bad at playing a character with Asperger's, I guess.
I guess I feel bad then. Or maybe it's a good representation. I don't know. Let us know.
No, I've known people with Asperger's. They're not like that.
Okay, well then I guess it's a bad version then. But still let us know. We'll give it kind of ultimately a pass is that they don't end up together. I think it would have kind of rushed where this movie was supposed to go if you kind of forced her to be with somebody by the very end of it.
Yeah.
The fact that she doesn't end up with anybody, I think it kind of brings it back around.
I like that they used him as a not quite a rebound, but a little transitional relationship thing. He got her to dip her toe in the water at least. I mean,
well, technically both the guys do.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, both Jeffrey Dean Morgan and what was his name?
Harry.
The actor. Yeah, that guy.
Her mom is so completely unsympathetic. It's ridiculous. It's a few weeks, 3 weeks after he died or something, and she's like, "You got to get out this house. You got to get over it." And I'm like, "Girl, he just died. He's still it it's not even been a month, and Kathy Bates is like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and I'm like, Kathy Bates, chill out. Like, if Doug died, I would take like 5 years to stop crying every day about it, you know? There comes a point in the movie where they're just straight up fighting about it, and she's like, you have to move on from it, you know, when your father left me, you know, and then Hilary Swank is like, well, Jerry died, Dad left you, you know? And I'm like, okay, but Kathy Bates, you have to see Hilary Swank's point of view here, because this is different, you know? Like, you knew that you were getting with a shitty guy, having 2 kids with a shitty guy, you know? Hilary Swank was just trying to live and be married. She was in a happy relationship. Like, you cannot tell me Hilary Swank's dad just left on a whim for funsies, you know? There is something wrong there. And then you find out that she's doing the letters, and you're like, what is this contradiction here, you know? I'm just glad that she at least had a support system of literally everybody else in her life except for her mother. Because her mother was like, it gives me the same feeling as Abuela in Encanto. I'm like, oh, nice lady. And then you're like, oh no, not nice lady. Not nice lady at all.
And then they tried turning it around.
They tried to redeem her, and you're like, fuck no. Also, another negative is that I'm never going to understand Snaps. The game that they play in Snaps.
Well, I don't even think they fully explained the game of Snaps.
No, because I Googled it the one time.
They kind of did, but every time they did, I didn't fully understand it, you know?
Yeah, it like, there's no, I don't know, I Googled it and I tried to learn it the one time, and I just really didn't get it at all. What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Because they'd be like, oh, Mariah Carey! Like, what?
We actually have somebody here who does know the rules of the game. This is our roommate, Nikki.
I might be wrong, but this is what I learned in like high school, middle school, and I don't fully remember it, but I'm trying to like, I know the idea. You use words, so like, let's say it's George Washington, you'd be like, Stephanie, get ready. Read the newspaper. Like, you spell it out, pretty much. The snaps are the vowels, and then you use hints to give the other ones. So, like, get ready, George. A-E, A-E-I-O. And then read the newspaper. R.
So that's A-E-I-O-U.
Constants are usually hints, and I think you can use other hints to, like, direct them. Like, you don't have to spell out the name. I always did spell out the name, though.
At a nightclub where, like, the music is pumping loud, boom, 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 no one's gonna hear that, you know? Like, no one's gonna hear...
That's how this is in the plot.
Well, they go to,
They're
like,
at a gay club.
They go to a gay club to help cheer her up and stuff,
And they're
you know?
like, girl.
That's really interesting. Thank you. But other than that, I mean, I thought overall this movie was incredibly cute. I mean, I'm not a big...
It's so much more than cute. What do you mean?
Well, I think it was very cute. Like, I'm not a big romantic comedy guy to begin with. It explored a different kind of love than you would usually get with these movies. Out of a scale of 10, we'll both do our scores. I think I'd give that a very comfortable 6 out of 10. I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite, but it's good. It's a decent film.
A 9. A 9 out of 10.
All right.
I don't know how you could give it less. Even a 6. Like, I understand if you don't care for it too much, but even then it's like a 7. You have to, like, respect it enough to know that it's more than a 6. I think that's the lowest I've ever heard you rate a movie.
It's not. No, I've definitely scored things less, but I thought it was cute. I thought it was just fine. Since it is the month of love, what would you recommend our audience to watch if they liked P.S. I Love You?
If you like this film and you want something similar to it, I personally would recommend the film Me Before You. It is very good, and if you like a movie that's going to make you cry and feel a lot of emotions, watch Me Before You. I mean, otherwise I would say The Notebook, but that one's a little bit overdone.
It's kind of basic, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today here on Film Stash for our first entry of February. My name is Stephanie Hitt.
And my name is Douglas Campbell.
And we're going to go back to the stash.